Thousands of healthcare workers are calling for Governor Hochul to do more in the upcoming budget to go towards what they call neglected healthcare needs and close that Medicaid coverage gap. Our Maggie DeRosiers has the latest after healthcare workers held a rally voicing some of those demands. Maggie.
Healthcare workers and elected officials are sounding the alarm over a lack of funding in the industry, which they say will hurt the patients the most, something they're not okay with. Across the state, healthcare workers are rallying for more funding, saying the current budget doesn't grasp the severity of the crisis in healthcare.
The same family members that you care about, you pray about, you fuss with the nurses, you fuss with the doctors because they're not getting the care that they need, we cry about because we want to give them the proper care that they need. Healthcare workers say the industry has been struggling for some time and was made more difficult since COVID. Now they're concerned facilities will have to shut down.
You have people working for 16 years and people at McDonald's is making more than them.
They say Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal would make the situation worse. They're asking for a $2.5 billion investment in the 2024 budget to increase Medicaid reimbursement by 10% for hospitals and 20% for nursing homes. Restore $700 million safety net funding, adding another $600 million, and address the disparity in reimbursement rates in upstate New York.
We now just have to fight for that with the governor and make sure that she hears us, that she understands the stories of the folks here behind me and how absolutely critical this is, because our seniors deserve the care that they need. The folks in hospitals deserve the care, and there's no way to get it to them if we won't pay for it.
One of the healthcare workers at the rally says she is passionate about the work she does, and it's heartbreaking when you can't do any more.
It sends you in a state of frenzy sometimes when you look at the residents and there's nothing you can do.
She says she feels like she can't ask off because there aren't enough people to do the job.
It is hard, but, we just have to hang in there because, it's something that, I love to do.
Assemblyman Al Sturpey says he hopes this budget gets settled by the end of April, and there is a major investment made in Medicaid funding.
The state budget is once again late. Our question tonight is why? Negotiations among state leaders continue while New Yorkers wait to learn important information, such as how much their local schools will get. Another year, another delay in passing the state budget. Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal to spend $227 billion in 2024 still being scrutinized by the legislature. What's at stake while the wait drags on? The I-Team's Mary Keeler has more information.
The state's top financial watchdog, Comptroller Tom DiNapoli, tells me budget time should be focused on spending plans. But discussions over policy and politics are what's slowing these negotiations down. The deadline to pass a fine-tuned version of Governor Hochul's $227 billion spending proposal already in the rearview mirror.
My concern as controller, because we look at the numbers and we look at the money, is that it's budget time. We should be talking about how much money are we spending, what's the right level of spending, what's the right level of debt, what will be the implications for spending choices we make this year, for next year, for 3 years out.
Comptroller Tom DiNapoli says it's the line items on policy like bail reform, housing initiatives, and school funding that are bogging discussions down. He says all those issues are important, but there are local governments and school districts across the state that are depending on knowing what kind of funding they can expect for their own budgets.
That pressure creates compromise, creates, I hate to use the word, but it is what happens, trading, right? I'll give on this if you give on that. Yep. As they say, the making of the sausage is not always pretty, but the sausage eventually gets made.
The big question now, will lawmakers return from this holiday weekend and pass a budget, or will they look to pass another extender instead?
We get back now to the start of Passover as of tonight, at the same time that crimes targeting the Jewish community have hit an all-time high. Allura Lagarde has more.
The Passover holiday is when people of the Jewish faith commemorate the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery and renew their trust in God. But despite the joyous celebration of the Jewish faith, there are still people who choose to spread hate. One 18-year-old and two 17-year-olds were arrested in Skaneateles for spreading anti-Semitic vandalism throughout different areas of the village, says Police Chief Scott Hegelke.
We're very confident that we have identified those that are involved and they are being held responsible.
Chief Hegelke says there is concern about how young the perpetrators are.
Hopefully the kids will then the court will say, hey, if there's a counseling they have to go through, or there's going to be pre-sentence investigations, or just to learn.
The incident that happened here in Skaneateles isn't unique. The Anti-Defamation League reports that anti-Semitic incidents are at an all-time high as of 2022. ADL reports 3,500 incidents of harassment, vandalism, and assault targeted towards Jewish people and communities were reported in 2022. That's 10% higher than in 2021. Those numbers don't shock Rabbi Rappaport of Chabad House in Syracuse.
There's nothing new. Jews have been dealing with this for centuries. And we're still here. For the Jew to deal with any type of, whether it's harassment or whatever it is to be up and stand strong and to be more Jewish.
Rabbi Rappaport goes back to the lessons of Passover and continues to renew his trust in God.
The message of Passover is trust, pride in being Jewish, and getting rid of your arrogance.